Hey guys, how you doing? Really sorry I'm not there today. I am in Holland. I guess the good news is I'm in Holland giving a keynote to one of their big educational groups called KinnisNet or KnowledgeNet. They oversee effective IT implementation in the school system in Holland, and I'm there talking about Peer Scholar, so that's kind of cool. But I'm not with you guys, and I apologize for that. We've tried to find ways. We may even, I don't know, maybe I'm going to Skype in some other way. Mike and I are looking into that, but even that's looking tricky. So given all of those issues, Mike asked if I might consider doing a brief 10 to 15 minute video kind of highlighting where we're at in the ALOR project and what sort of deliverables we might bring to bear. So that's the intent of this. Let me just say, yes, my hair is yellow. I realize that. We had a gig on the weekend, and it wasn't only yellow, it was big and fuzzy and crazy, and that's just kind of part of the fun. So now I get to live with the yellow hair, and so do you. Alrighty, so let's get down to the business at hand. Our part of the ALOR grant was largely about taking technologies that we had already created, primarily for use in my class in introductory psychology, but to make them as shareable as possible, so that any colleague anywhere who wished to use any of these technologies could do so as painlessly as possible. So there's been a whole bunch of things that have become part of that. I've tried to capture some of these in some points here, so let's get to that, and I may think of more as we go because I'm kind of doing this on the fly. But let's go to the presentation. All right, so what have we done? What have we done? Well, here's how I kind of organize it. So first of all, we did gather some input about the systems before we made any changes from both students and from teachers. And the idea was to get a sense of how people are using the technologies and any thoughts they had about improvement. So both the strengths, but especially the weaknesses, things we could now keep in mind as we make changes to the system. So we have some survey data, and we have also a couple of reports from professors who've been using MTuner, Digital Lab Coat, and also Peer Scholar. So kind of bringing that all in as a first step. We then have been really kind of sort of had two thrusts underway. So one is to alter the applications and the way they are hosted to enable scalability and efficiency at scale. This is going to be to some way a hard way to document in a deliverable. Obviously we can do screenshots and the like, but I don't know if they will really kind of tell the picture of all the what's called UX and UI work that went into this. So basically we've had people go through the applications to try to identify things like organization, how intuitive is it to use, and especially we're talking about now from the instructor perspective. So how easy is it for an instructor to say, take MTuner and try to set up an assignment, and is everything where it should be? Is the workflow logical? So people have been working on that, which is called the user experience, trying to make sure that the user experience is as smooth as possible, and giving us suggestions about how we can alter it, and then we go ahead and alter it. But also what's called UI, user interface, which really is how pretty, how attractive, how clean is the application. And while at some level that's not as critical as making it intuitive, it also does, give lend a certain professionalism to the application and make it look good. So we've been working on those things, UX, UI, but we've also, as implied by this, been working on more sort of ground level stuff, like where do we want to host the applications, and can we have situations where if people are using it at different schools, they could host their local data in one place but the application somewhere else? The reason you sometimes want to do that is there are things like Amazon cloud servers where they're instantly scalable. So if a lot of people start using the application at once, it's very easy on Amazon to scale the application. Whereas if it's like on a U of T box, then we suddenly need more hard drives, more RAM, more whatever, and we're kind of scrambling on the fly to do what we can do naturally in other situations. So we've been thinking about all that kind of thing, in addition to actually literally reprogramming the way it queries the database to make sure that there's a lot of efficiency in there, that searches and such happen as quickly as they can, because again, once it scales up to a massive number of users, any delay times make a big difference. So, it's going to be hard to document some of this stuff, but it's all critical to this notion of making the applications shareable at scale. We've also, by the way, are into the process of integrating these applications with Blackboard. One is done, the next is up to bat. But I think we can rightfully say that, thanks to the ALOR funding, all 3 applications will be integrated with Blackboard, and also we're creating what's called an LTI, Learning Technology Interface, for the applications, which will allow it to be integrated in other LMS systems as well. Okay, so that's sort of on the real kind of guts of the program level. I've already kind of talked about this a little bit, actually, in the previous point, but we've really worked on the interface that the instructors are using. The idea we have in mind here is that for some instructors, especially, jumping to a technological solution is not always comfortable. We want to make it as comfortable as possible. So I've talked about the UX UI of a given application, but the other thing we've also tried to do is homogenize these, so that if you use one application, let's say mTuner, and you want to now use Digital Lab Coat, when you start creating your Digital Lab Coat assignment, the interface that you will be working with is very similar stylistically to what you're already familiar with. So across all 3 of the applications, we're trying to homogenize these interfaces. Another part of what we've been up to. Okay, and again, more on the development side. Now, separate from the development side, and largely working with Aidan Irani, we've also been working on the both, I would call this both support, but I would also call it marketing, for lack of a better term. All this work that we're doing to make the application scalable and whatnot is really premised on the idea that we want to get them out there and get them used as widely as possible. So we're creating, we have in various forms, websites for all the applications. As implied by a lot of what I'm saying, this is still ongoing work. It's not finished. So we're still creating these websites, but they include things like testimonial videos, promotional videos. The promotional videos are meant to kind of explain to people why they might want to use this application, what it does for you, how it connects to learning objectives, for example, why it's novel and powerful. So, that's part of what we're doing, are these promotional videos and these testimonials showing, what do users feel like when they use it. But we're also really thinking about support. So once somebody does sign on, we want facts, we want tip sheets, we want training courses, because the approach we imagine is one where we have the local IT professionals become experts on our technologies and become the frontline support. So we're creating training courses as well, so that somebody in an IT education field could take this training course and really become an expert on the given application, and could thereby both proselytize it to instructors they may be working with, but also support those instructors as they work with it. It even, by the way, as I suggest here, came to a point of logos for the applications and graphics and a graphic designer for the whole website, the kind of graphics we include. Again, all of that with the intention of making these really look professional, high grade. We know from the outset we've put a lot of educational theory and learning theory into it, so we know that functionally these applications do what we want them to do and do it well. But they also have to look right. They have to look good, they have to look professional for people to actually give them the credit they deserve. And so some of the ALOR efforts have been on that front as well. Not just making things functional, but making them professional. All right. So largely that's where we're at. Those are the kinds of things we've done and are still doing. I look forward to wrapping a lot of these things up. Honestly, a lot of them are probably at about the 90% done stage. We have to start pushing them over that edge as we go. That's just sort of how things seem to work. Alrighty, so that's what I got I'd say from here in Holland, but I'm actually here in my office. But I'm simultaneously in my office and in Holland for you guys right now. I don't know how that works. I'm a psychologist. I'm not an astrophysicist. All right, I hope you guys have a great meeting. I apologize for not being there, and I will see some of you soon. Bye-bye.